At the top for Mary's watching. Right, that's us going live now. So, if anybody comes on, they can let us know if they can hear us.
We get anybody on? There's everybody on.
No, they're all away.
I think it's a lost cause.
I think.
It's a lost cause.
But can you still hear us?
All
Can
right.
you hear it, Ricky, now? Is it better now? Can somebody let us know if the sound's a wee bit better? It's working.
Sorted now.
There we
Oh,
go.
good. Right, so
We're sorted.
we missed that story there, Charlie. Sorry to have to ask you.
I forget
Yeah.
about it. What is it?
The Gaza with the cares. Gaza with the cares.
It's funny.
Right, here goes again, guys.
John Spears, I hope you're listening this time.
It was just obviously I loved him to bits, and just what kind of guy he was. We used to play cards the night before games and that, obviously, but nothing else a day when we're staying in the hotels. So we were up at Edinburgh and in the hotel, and we just had dinner. So we'd go up to the room, play cards, usual suspects, myself, Gaza, Coisty, Big Oz, Durante would play. Alec Cleland would even get involved sometimes, and some others.
Craig Moore and that, was it?
Craig
Was
Moore,
it
Big Oz, aye. So,
Aye.
but Gaza, we used to play free card brag, and so Gaza had more money than everybody else. That was a given. So for instance, say Coisy would go £5 blind, and Alec Cleland would go £5 blind. Go into Durante, he'd maybe go £10 open. Then Craig Moore would maybe look at his cards and throw them away. Then it come to me, I'd maybe do the same. And then Gaza would just go £50 blind. So obviously, if you were open, you'd have to go 100 quid open. And unless you had a good hand, you were like, your pants would join the brownies, you know what I mean? So him and Craig Moore had a big pot, and Craig Moore ended up winning because up to it must have been about 1,600 quid in the pot. And he ended up giving Craig Moore a £800 cheque to his party it. So me and Gaz ended up in a big pot. It was ended up about £8,000 in it, and he just kept on going £100 blind, and I was £200 open. I'd been open for ages and ages, and I had to say to him, Gaz, come on, you get more money, and he said, stop taking the piss. So I had a 1-2-3 stiff, which in Bragg is only can be beat back 3 a kind. So it's a great hand. 1 ace 2 or 3 of clubs, never forget it. And he goes, right, okay. So he opens his hand and he just shoves the first card to his seat, sticks it to his seat, and it was a 2. And he sticks another one to his seat, and it was another 2. And I'm thinking, there's no chance in this earth he's going to have a pile of 2s. Sure enough, he had a pile of 2s. And I'm going mental. I'm saying he's looked at the cards. I'm throwing this table all the place. I'm going mad. And I'm storming away into my room. I was raging. But that's what happens. You get play with the big boys with all the money. But obviously with the game in next morning, and Gaza knows that I was the richest wee guy that was playing in the team. So Gaza's came to see me, make sure my head was sorted properly for the game the next day, and he's given me a cheque for $5,000.
So kind.
Just to say, wee man, don't worry about that. It's only money. I'm just taking a piss. So it was.
He just wanted the funny at all, didn't he?
That's what it was, and it was just the kind of guy he was. And honestly, I went and got a sleep that night just because. And we went out and won. I think we won 4-1 the next day against Hibs. It was just things like that. He was such a kind-hearted man, and he was a great guy. And actually, we all loved him. He was a kind-hearted guy, and but as I said, we'd come up for dinner, and he would bring his steak up in a bit of tin foil, and he'd eat it while playing cards, and then he would just go and be sick it right out, which was, to see that, it was, being a bit young, I didn't really understand it. I was only maybe 19, 20-year-old, seeing Gaza doing things like that. I was like, I didn't really understand it, but the guy had some demons, you know, and but as a man to anybody, he was one of the greatest human beings ever.
Aye, I tell a story.
And what a wonderful football player.
I tell a story about one of the gigs, and he went, I was there, you thought. One of the best stories I heard him, I've not told this one on here before, was Bobby telling the story about when he's refereeing the game. It was Rangers Motherwell, and Gaza's moaning at the referee the full time, and he's giving the referee a hard time. That's a free kick to Rangers, that's a corner to Rangers, and he's getting on it. Bobby the full game, Bobby's like, oh, leave us alone, go on with the game. I'm not against you, just go on with the game.
Aye.
So the next thing he shouts out to Bob, referee, I want that ball changed, that ball's flat, I want another ball. And he said, there's nothing wrong with the ball, go on with the game. He says, no, I want that ball changed. He says, that ball's flat, I want it changed. So Bobby blew the whistle. And he went like that. Do you remember Peter Van Vossen that played with us?
Aye.
He said to Peter Van Vossen, Peter, could you put that ball in the dugout? And please. And Peter Van Vossen pinged the ball right into the dugout. And Gaza says, I tell you that ball's flat because he can't do that.
I know that one. And that was honestly some part of the boy. It was great. It was a great human being. Obviously, the one about where he done Gordon Allison. Another going to Edinburgh. We're going up in the bus and Gaza's going down to Newcastle after the game. And he asked Gordon Allison to drive his BMW up to Edinburgh for him. So we were in the bus playing cards, going up in the bus. And Gaza phones the police and says his BMW's been stolen. And Gordon Allison's driving up the M8. Sunroof down, sunny day. I think it was maybe April or something like that. Heading up to Edinburgh. The police flying up with M8 and Paul Gordon Allison. Gordon Allison, I believe this car's been stolen. Gordon Allison, the physio, was like, what are you talking about? I've been driving it for a friend. And he's like, no, we've just had it reported stolen. so Gordon Allison phones the bus and Gaza goes, I have no idea who he is.
Oh, no
to
way.
The police. So by this point, Gordon Allison's thanks of joined the Brownies. He's crap himself. But Gaza obviously ended up having to say, aye, it was just a bit of fun. But you imagine something like that happened to now, Gaza would get to jail.
No, I know.
Honestly.
Dan, I know you normally like announce your like gigs and that coming up, right? But will we just read out some of the questions we've got?
Aye.
Now, so there's one that we get in for Davy Scott. What happened in Norway with the...
When I get punked. Have you not ever seen it now?
No.
Oh, you'll need to watch that.
You just YouTube Charlie Miller.
If any of the viewers on just put in Charlie Miller punked.
Right, okay.
Honestly,
YouTube Charlie Miller
amazing.
punked. Then it's better for you to watch
Right, okay.
than me telling you about it.
Right.
But, you need to watch it, honestly.
Okay.
It's brilliant.
I'll watch
But,
that.
Every person that looks at it, I get another tenner. So please, 100,000 he's looking at.
And the thing is, if you after you watch it, you say to yourself, Charlie Miller's a grass. Try to stick his missus in. I'm not saying nothing.
I don't say it anymore. Don't say anymore.
Another one
wife.
with Jonathan Ben for Sheffield. Their question: when you were winning games, was there ever a player you loved getting one over?
Against, you mean?
Aye.
No, I didn't really bother about any other players because we were used to that winning that much that getting in over any other team was never didn't bother me at all. Honestly, just winning was probably just making sure that you were staying in the team. Try to don't get it at one of your teammates, but try to keep your place in the team was hard enough. So I wasn't worrying about anybody else.
Right.
What about that one for Gracie? We were talking about this earlier. My boy is in your youth team. Who was your own biggest influence?
Well, my own biggest influence, and I know Gracie, how are you, pal? And be Jaden. Jaden plays in one of my teams, the 2012 team. Great kid. His dad's a nutcase, keeps on phoning me at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, don't say that. He's one of your sponsors.
Nice. Honestly, he's a Georgia best. Great guy. But influences my career as a kid was obviously my coaches as a kid, and obviously my uncles.
I know your Uncle Benny.
Uncle Benny and Uncle Jim were great for me because I didn't know my father. I was brought up with my gran. So if it wasn't for they two, I wouldn't have got very far. Obviously, my coaches at my boys' club teams like Ali Patrick, who's passed unfortunately, Tody Reading, people like that, great guys. They've got big influence. My old janitor at school, Brian Nelson, used to let me and my pals play in at school at seeing a Friday night when you've nothing else to do. He would let us get into the school, and because it's good for him. He was my school manager as well, and he would just see us playing football, no causing trouble. You know what I mean? And it was good for him.
Aye.
There's just nowhere for kids to play like that anymore.
No, there's
But
not.
definitely, these kind of guys were definitely great.
I'll get one for Ryan Buchanan in Blantyre, and he said, how many Heatherly pints can you drink in the Stonefield Tavern before you get poured into a taxi, Charlie?
Well, to
You
be
drink
fair,
more than him, can you?
oh, I can drink more than him. Anybody can. Lightweight. To be fair, I had the first time I ever drank it when we were doing it. Me and you were doing to Fleetwood to sort of
That's right,
Orlando
for it,
Rickson
aye.
game it. And I drove Stan down. And Stan was on the slimline gin and tonics. So I drove Stan down. We drove back up and mend up. Stan said, we've got a game of poker tonight. You want to just stay for the poker?
That's right.
I think it was the first ever game of poker in there. And I said, aye, why not? I'll stay for it. So obviously parked the motor up and I've went, I don't really like Tennant's, but it heavily. What a lovely pint in the round glass, beautiful. Obviously Stan doesn't do it anymore because it's good and it's expensive.
It's expensive.
So, but honestly, that night I must have drank about 20 of them, and they're as strong as anything. They grab you from the inside out. Honestly, for the for the ankles up with where they heavilies. But I think I was there to midnight, and
You were, aye.
so we got. I think we got to the pub about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and then we just started drinking. Started the poker at 7. I know the next morning. I think it was a Wednesday night we played, and the next morning I got up. Man, my head was busting. I phoned him. He said he's all right. But I was going for drink with him. He's on the gins, and I'm on the.
Oh, no, that's
Oh.
how I don't get it.
And it was pints and all compared to his
pints,
wee
aye, his wee
halves.
slimline tonics.
But you'll need to go on the Tenants tomorrow when we go to watch again.
No,
innit?
Tenants is rotten.
He's never liked Tenants. We've got some up and coming events. I've got myself and Colin Steen and Willie Johnson. We're in Drumchapel for Brian Hood on Friday night. And where are you, Charlie? You're been Saturday, aren't you? Where are you on Saturday?
I've got the game for Lee Rigby for wee Susie with Solo and Big.
Right.
I don't know if Big Marvin's there. Alec Ray's playing, and then me and Alec are doing it Tweed.
That's good down there too. You're not for there on Saturday, are you?
Friday night, I'm in
Or
Dumfries on Friday night.
Dumfries. And then Miss D's in Lanark. Miss me, you, and Fergie's up there. And the last time I was up there when I spoke about it, Alec Ray says it sounds like a kind of stripper joint, Miss D's. So I think she's going to change the name.
I quite like it.
But we've a big one coming up, Charlie. I spoke to you through the week about it, and it's Rangers Legends v the Royal Engineers in London on the 23rd of July.
Yep.
Now, the London Rangers supporters clubs have got involved in us, so I think we're going down there
22nd, you said to me.
on the Friday to play golf.
Yep.
And then after the golf, we'll have a couple of beers, not too much because we've got the game the next day, and Lindsay's flying down with the rest of the players that are the golfers. And we're taking on the Royal Engineers and a wee dinner after it. So
Yep.
it's always good going into London.
100%.
again, innit?
It'll be great. Obviously, the fans are there as well with the travelling everywhere, and obviously a lot based in there as well. So it's great.
I've said this before, and I think it's great. I was doing it the Rangers anniversary, 60th anniversary of London, and you've got boys for Tottenham, boys for Millwall, boys for Crystal Palace, Chelsea,
Altogether.
Tottenham, and because it's Rangers, there's no hassle with them all. And you know a lot of them
Oh,
yourself, you know what I
100%,
mean? And it's
definitely.
just full respect for Rangers, and no doubt when we get back down there again, down to London, they'll be down there following the
100%.
Rangers and big crowds again. I
Well,
think.
just as long as it's no Yorkshire, the Philadelphia club, but Stan sends you to Sheffield.
That was Sheffield. What a place that was, wasn't it?
Oh, aye, it was walking back in time. It was like the good people.
We've got another question here. Ian Nichol, Aberdeen. Coaching kids what's the best advice you can give through your own experiences to any kids? Well, you take the youth team anyway.
I've got
but-
kids, obviously. I've coached my kids, and we lose kids that are good players, obviously. You have to listen to the coaches. I fell out with Bomber. I played with Bomber for a couple of years, and then Bomber became a coach. And I thought Bomber was trying to punish me by getting me into the gym and at 8 o'clock in the morning before training. And when I look back now, and I only realised that Bomber was trying to be horrible, but try to be horrible in a good way. Instead of just saying, Charlie, I think this would benefit you or whatever. And I realise it now. But the way Bomber was, he was old school and say, you'll be fucking in. You know what I mean? That's it. Me and Bomber fell out and had a big fight, and an actual fight in the corridor at Ibrox, and it didn't go well. But no, listen to your coaches. You have to have a good attitude. You have to want it. And obviously I end up with some maniacs when I played with as well. And if I maybe went down the Brian Lowe route instead of the Gaza route, or the
Coist
Durant
there,
McCoist
aye.
route or whatever, but
Aye.
I would never change it. Obviously, football wise, I could have done more or whatever. I should have maybe done more, but I don't regret things like that. But obviously, for kids, listen to the coaches. You have to have a good attitude, and you have to want it. You have to want it. If you've got a great attitude and want to be a football player, you've got every chance now. Especially being an attitude. If you're an athlete, you've got a great chance of being a football player now, even if you've got half decent touch.
Well, see when we had Alec Ray on, when was that, the last show? Was that Alec was on?
Aye,
No, it was Dukey,
yeah, it was a
the
couple of
show
shows
before
ago.
that. What he said is, he said, guys like yourself, you had ton as a talent, Gaza had tons of talent. Just because I seen a question there, and Laudrup and guys like that, but he says the guys like Ian Ferguson and Bomber and your Stuart McCalls and guys like that, he called them, no disrespect to them, but HUD carriers. And he says you need guys like that in your team that's going to roll their sleeves up and fight and all.
Aye, they were fighters, but they were better football players. They were really good football players.
Oh, I know, and he's not taking that away from him, but they said if you were playing in a midfield and you were like yourself, a sulky midfielder, you always liked a guy like that beside you because they're gonna get tore in, they know.
Aye, to be fair, I get tore in. That was part of the game. You had to get tore in. If you got somebody kick you, you were going to get bullied and ran over. So, and obviously your own teammates don't want you to be playing the same team as you if you're getting run over. But
well, that was one of the questions with Alan McCready there, talking about Gaza and Laudrup. We've got one there with Willie Black. It's coming up just now. What was that a lot of crap about David Beckham wore your boots when he scored that goal from the halfway line against Wimbledon?
no, it wasn't Willie. It was a true story. I was sponsored by Adidas, and Adidas were trying to get the second best player in Britain at the time. They thought at his age. After me, no. They were obviously Adidas were trying to sign David Beckham up as well, and I was a size 8 and Beckham was a size 8, and then I end up with my boots on Adidas. Charlie's got him in a glass case in his soccer academy.
Is that right? Is it?
That's brilliant, isn't it?
He's got them in his glass case in his soccer academy, and obviously scored for Alf Welling. But Jim White phoned me I was at Dun United at the time, and Beckham had brought his autobiography. I'd found out from my mate Mark Williams, who I played with at Watford. He was got Adidas stuff off of, I was a big centre half boy, and he told me the story. And it was the boy, I can't remember if it was Aidan Butterworth, who was a guy I used to deal with at Adidas. He'd said to Mark Williams that David Beckham won my boots that day. So I just got them in a glass case. But Jim White phones me on Monday morning, I'm still half cut. And it's, hi Charlie, it's Jim White here. And I'm like, aye, good one. Hang the phone up. Phone goes again, hi Charlie, it's Jim White here. I hang the phone up again. I'm like, and phone me again, hi Charlie, it's Jim White here. And I'm going, what? Who is this? And he says, Charlie, honestly, it's Jim White here. I'm like, what is it, mate? And he's like,
What is it, mate?
He's like, David Beckham's brought his autobiography out today, and there's obviously mentioned you in it about scoring for half Welling with your boots on. I says, mate, you've done that with a pair of welly boots on. Now can I go back to my bed? But he took all the magic out of him.
There's one here as well I've got, right, that's come in. TJ Johnson asked, in 2008-2009 he won Foreign Player of the Year away in the A-League.
Yes, I won that Foreign Player of the Year in Australia.
Is there another time in his career where he was playing really well that he thought he would win a Player of the Year award, but obviously not the Young Player of the Year award that you already won in 1995?
Oh, I won a Young Player of the Year award. I should probably have won that 2 years in a row.
Is there any other one that you think?
Well, I should probably have won the A-League Player of the Year, but after I think I'd scored 6 goals in 6 games. I think it was 5 or 6 goals in 6 games. I'd scored, for making my debut, I'd scored in every game. Like, I think 6 games in a row, 5 or 6 games in a row. And it was a record. And I started really well in Australia. And then I had to get a double hernia operation. And then I came back after 6 weeks. I shouldn't have come back a bit too early. But I came back and played and scored some great goals again. And obviously, they wanted... This was the first year they ever done the Foreign Player of the Year. So I think they wanted to give me something because I'd done so well. So I don't know if they still do it, but that's in my garage. That's in my garage, and it's not very clean. That it's got the Team of the Year on it, and I've got the Foreign Player of the Year. The big glass bowl hang.
Jade Anderson's asking as well. Ask Charlie what was the most memorable bit of advice he ever received from Walter Smith while he was playing at Rangers that stuck with him today.
Oh, you bastard! Walter wasn't one for advice. He just let me go and play. He believed in me when he brought me through, and just obviously he didn't even tell me that I was playing, make my debut at 17. He just named me in the team. Didn't even have to give me. That was just belief that he had in me. Obviously with a few run-ins after that because of my behaviour or whatever. But he was a great man. Obviously, it was sad loss to Rangers Football Club, and obviously Efo and the rest of the family, Stephen and Neil, and obviously the grandkids and that. So, but he was a great man, and obviously he'll be sadly missed. And
There's one there with James Campbell saying, what happened to your acting career, Charlie? You were brilliant in Angel Share.
oh, it was
If
amazing.
anybody's watched that, I don't think you said anything in it.
I didn't say nothing, but I was just my pure Ned in it, wasn't I? That was
Two
a great
things I need to
experience.
watch now.
Have you
then.
seen it?
No.
No.
I'm in the start. I'm actually. It was just because we were coaching kids, getting the kids off the street, and Ken Loach obviously was the director at Rangers Share, and he was obviously comes about trying to give young kids a chance to get off the streets, things like that. And the scene what Andy McLaren had been doing with his training thing, and I was obviously helping coach, and he found out me and Andy played football, and asked us if we wanted to be in it, and I was like, "Hi, why not?" So it was a great experience. The people were great. I ended up pally with a few boys in it, and still see them. Boy Scott Kyle, I see, who loves Rangers, and he's played a few of the Rangers Legends games that I've played in with my wee mate Bernie. Great lad, and he does the, I can't remember, but it's a Highland Fling, I think he does. Scott Kyle, he's a great lad, and I see him quite a lot. So I'm not back an Oscar for that.
I've got to admit, why, it was better than that one Coisty done. Did you ever watch that one?
100%. I went down. Honestly, McInnes phones me, you want to come down to Terrace? It was at Hampden. It was a Sunday morning. And I said, what time we finish it? 12 o'clock, he said to me. So I got down there at 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning. I'm like, right, okay, so we're just stoned about. It was the worst ever. And then it gets to 12 o'clock and the King's Park opened at 12:30 on a Sunday. And I'm like, what time is this finished? And the guy said, oh, you could be here about 6 o'clock at night. I'm like, what? I says, strip off, right on, gear on, and I buggered off.
Our pal, no Wayne. He's coming up the weekend for my birthday. He was in that film Belfast there.
Oh, really?
Aye, because he's got a
Mosley?
no Wayne Morley. aye,
Wayne Morley.
He's got the Pig. It's called, and it's
I watched that the other night.
It's an old army motor for Belfast for
Right.
the Troubles.
Right.
And he's bought it and done it all up. So see if they're ever doing any films about Belfast, he gets a phone call in the time and he takes the pig along and he's on it. So they see him in it smiling out the window. I got to give him a wee
I watched
mention.
it and didn't even realise.
Aye, he's in it.
Obviously, must have been in it shorter than I was in the Angel Share.
But he was saying that he said it was weird. Kenneth Brannan. It was the story's meant to be about him. I've not seen it yet, but he was telling me that with Kenneth Brannan, you got to call him sir if he talks to you. But if he doesn't talk to you, you wouldn't meant to make eye contact with him. He said he wasn't the best.
Sure, he's gig up his arse then.
Well, I think he was getting some at £700 or £900 a day for the hire.
Of course.
He's thing me, so if he's going to do it, he's definitely
Do
going
you know
to
what's
do
a
it.
good watch? I watched it the other morning. That the new Wayne Rooney documentary. I watched that, so I did Monday
My
morning.
wife was watching that.
I enjoyed it. I did. I really enjoyed the stories he was telling.
There's Spearsy. Spearsy calls Andy McLaren that used to play with Dan United. Gary McLaren, that's what he calls him. Spearsy.
I heard Colin Muir saying, Stan, it's your birthday weekend. We know that. We're going to get that in a wee bit.
How good was Gaz and Coyce and the rest of them, Charlie? They were great. They were.
It must have been some competition with Ray2 and Major Anty with the party.
Oh, aye, it was me and Big Oz and McInnes against all the older
Oh,
ones.
was it?
See the young ones, we used to get as good as we got. Don't worry about that. But and the boys says it was Gaza a good influence. Of course, Gaza was a good influence. But
That's
I
my
just-
cousin actually told
I
us.
went and done some stupid things and followed them without getting to the stage where I was a fully fledged team and the team every week, and maybe got involved too young, obviously.
Aye, I know.
As you said earlier, there,
No
you've
regrets.
and
No.
No regrets, 100%.
No
That's it.
regrets.
Gaza was a great influence, although he was a nutcase.
And you got to play with the greatest team in the world, so that's
100%.
that's it. But what about the game tomorrow night then? What you thinking?
We always want to win.
Of course.
Obviously, we always want to win games. And if you say to me, win this game or win Sunday's game, I'd rather win Sunday's game. Of course, the league's the most important thing at the moment. But I'm sure Giovanni will put a team out there that will go out and give Dortmund a game. I've no doubt about that. Obviously, defensively, we've been good since obviously the Celtic game, because I was getting a wee bit worried.
Lindsay's just saying there that Balogun and Hellender's not making it tomorrow night. That'd be a big
Balogun.
miss.
100%.
I agree with what you said there. If the two of them are missing, if he's not taking the chance with them, and he's keeping them for Sunday, would rather have done that.
Well,
Aye.
Hollander, I think he'll be doing that. You don't want Hollander just coming back and then travelling and then try to play a game on a Thursday then a Sunday. I
Sunday
think
as well.
Hollander's very
Aye.
important. He's our
But I
best
think Jacko's
defender.
back. I think he's back. It was Super Scoreboard I was listening to. When
I think I seen on Sky that Ryan Jack was back, but
There's one with Tam Black. Charlie, has any kid you have coached so far been good enough that you have recommended him to pro youth or senior club?
well, obviously we started 10 years ago, so the first 3 or 4 years is kind of just trying to obviously
Establish
build it
yourself.
up and establish yourself. So you're kind of just taking any kids. And don't get me wrong, I've had a lot of great young kids at the beginning, and obviously kids that weren't into football. But it was great for me because I realised that if we're going to have teams, then we obviously have to have we want to have strong teams. So in the next 4 or 5 years, I've lost a lot of players to pro youth in the last 3 or 4 years who maybe are about maybe 13, 12, 13, things like that. So you see them come. Hopefully, some of them are very talented and great kids with great work ethic, and I'm sure if they get the chance, they'll do very well because they're good players, very good players. So hopefully in a year's, maybe 4 or 5 years, they'll have maybe 3 or 4 boys that might be.
Good enough. I
Oh,
think
aye.
they'll come through, but that will give you satisfaction that
Oh,
you've
100%. It's obviously about the kids. That's the most important thing.
my daughter's asking a question, and I know who she's obviously getting this for, unless she's googled it. But Alexis, who was the Rangers captain who became the first player to play for Scotland more than 50 times?
Who was that? Obviously, Greggy. Greggy, was it?
I don't know.
I would say
That's the question she's asking.
I would say Greggy.
I would say Al McGregor.
No. Goffey's
Goalkeeper.
played more than 50 games.
Rangers captain.
Or Rangers captain.
Who was the Rangers captain who became the first player
To play for
to
Scotland.
play
more
for
than 50
Scotland
times.
more than 50
Well, if
times?
it's no Greggy, I would imagine it would be Goffey.
Goff, maybe.
Unless it's a late, a long time ago.
Now
But
that
remember, they didn't play a lot of internationals away back
Aye.
there. That's how it's more likely it's.
But he still had World Cup qualifiers and European Championships.
I know nothing to what they
There's
played.
George
now.
Morrison.
See, I knew
George
somebody
Young.
would go and Google that, so that's what
So-
happened the last week. I know, remember somebody was Googling
Nah, I
it.
wouldn't have said George Young. They only played maybe about 4 or 5 games a season. Then you'd have had to went a long time. Well, that's only my opinion. I wouldn't mind if somebody Googles that. Let us know there because
Well, Gazzy's just said George Young.
but he's maybe guessing.
And Alexis is only 12, so I know her dad's gave her that question. So he must know it.
So Greg's Morrison's no dad.
Aye, so what's your score predictions for Thursday then?
Oh, I would take a one each to now. It's got to be difficult. Got to be a difficult game.
Andy?
Aye, I would go with a draw.
I would take a draw.
I would take
I
a
think
draw.
I think the way the Rangers fans are, the way I'm feeling, I'm more interested in Sunday's game coming up than I were in Thursday. So getting a draw and getting money in the pot's more important because you need to win this league. There's a lot of money at stake,
100%.
and I actually thought I'll not be listening tonight. But I actually thought I was maybe be gone the day to Dortmund because my wee mate Sammy Preston, who you know.
I know Sammy. Yeah, very well,
I had hinted to him at hospitality last week. It was my birthday, and I know he's flying out with the team today. And I thought he'd have given me a wee phone and said I've booked
It was my
Dortmund.
birthday in March. I would have liked to win the next leg game, Sammy.
I heard their top scorers out. Is it the
Alan.
top scorer?
Aye,
heard
I've never
he-
seen him, but wee Wally Black says he's some player, eh?
He's a player. He's a player, all right. Don't worry about that.
Aye, is he?
No, aye.
Sunday, hard game, Dundee United, away for him. What do you think yourself, Sunday?
Well, obviously I had four enjoyable years at Dundee United. It was a good club when I was there. Obviously, know Eddie Thompson was the chairman, and he was a great man. He's passed away, unfortunately, and then his son took care. He wasn't such a great man, and obviously wanted us down. But we kind of played like we played there at the beginning of the season. I think we had 2 chances the whole game. I think Alfredo missed one in the first half, and I think Big Golson had one. I think it was just past the post where he done the second half. It was poor.
Oh, he's in fire now, but Fred,
Aye.
isn't he?
Oh, he is. He's looking
Confidence.
fit, he's looking sharp, and obviously going away with the national team and maybe no getting on the bench has brought him back thinking, well, he needs to get sharper. Everybody else sees that or whatever. And he's come back. He's been immense. It's been great to see he's got his hunger back again. Maybe Giovanni's done something in training different, or Roy Mackay's doing something. We don't know, but we went stale, and as I said, we were.
A couple of weeks ago, there I was talking to Wee Durant about him, and he said, I can't believe how 1 week he looked overweight, and then within a week, he looked sharp
He
again.
looked sharp.
You know, and he's in fire now. He's great, and you can see the difference. See the way he hodges up play, and he brings it. He can ping a ball out wide to the wing,
He needs to
bring players in.
Time stand.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you there, but
We need him. Definitely need him.
Kent's just that much off scoring now, isn't he? I know, Kent. He just
Kent can
keeps.
do much more for me. He's got so much ability.
He has.
Drives me crazy.
I think his confidence is
He's
just
got
a
so
bit
much-
down and
Isn't
out.
he's had a couple of good games the
That's
last
what I'm
couple.
saying.
He played
Aye.
very well against Hearts.
did.
Play
He
very well
did.
against-
Missed a goal with that, didn't he? An inch or something.
Aye. And that, to be fair, that they can all stepped up after the Elfirm game, and that's a worry whether you maybe sink after the Elfirm game and the Heats get down.
100%. I was worried after
come
it.
back, didn't they?
I was worried.
Aye.
They scored 7 goals of it, or 10 goals of it without conceding. So
Aye.
that's a good.
What did you think? Say, like, I know, we didn't talk about it much 2 weeks ago. There, when we came on, we were a bit sick, but looking at it now, was it a wrong team selection?
I was ill.
Oh, I was
It
up
just
the road at
horrible.
half time.
It was horrible.
It was a weird night.
Giovanni's obviously having to pick a teammate. He's got there. He's obviously centre defence, and is a big worry. I still can't believe we didn't bring Katic back. I don't know if we're not allowed to or whatever. Obviously, Balogun coming back, it looked good against Hearts, I think it was.
Yeah.
He done well. And then obviously got injured against Hibs. And then now we've got Hollander back, who I didn't think would have played against Annan on that AstroTurf, but he played, which is great. And he's obviously not travelling tomorrow, but he must be saving him for Sunday. But we need Hollander.
No,
We need
you
goals
do
We
badly.
need the good goals. and we need
And
goals.
Lindsay's saying that Ryan Jack's back, and that's been a big miss for us.
But Ryan Jack's a very, very good football player, but
Brilliant.
he's been missing for
I know.
I know.
so long. And
But we do miss him.
100% we
Eh,
do. But
the-
obviously, Lundstrom, to be fair, Lundstrom's done very well. See his last few games, Lundstrom's been a standout, and it's good to see because obviously people think you can just come up for England and just hit the ground running. It's very difficult.
Aye.
Obviously, Roof as well. Roof's a great player. This season he's had a stop-start.
I
with
mean,
injuries.
he's had a lot of injuries and all of it, Charlie.
That's the thing, but that's the thing.
Do you think you'll ever get a season out of Ryan Jack? Do you think maybe that's just the way his makeup is now, that he's going to break down quite a lot?
I hope no. I hope no, because he's still, 29-year-old?
It's not his fault, is it?
best
If
years
these
ahead.
things
No,
are happening to him,
and
it's,
maybe
it's,
it's-
not as if he's.
I
he's
feel
not
quite
giving
sorry
you-
for him
He's
that-
not giving you an effort
I
on the
know,
park,
he
because
is.
he's giving you 100% on the park when he is playing.
When he came on against us, the Old Firm game, when he played them.
There's
done
Alec
very well.
McCallum saying that he's no registered in the Euro squad.
Oh,
That's maybe.
Is that what it is
Aye.
then?
So you could potentially have him for Sunday then, couldn't
Oh,
you?
I'd imagine he'll play Sunday.
And there's Liz Duncan saying Dinky says I'll not see the game on Sunday. I will see it, but maybe not for the pub. Then Dan Parson, he's saying 2-0 Rangers on
Take
Sunday.
that on Sunday, definitely. But
I would
it's
take
going to be a
that.
difficult game up there. He'll just sit in and make things difficult like they did earlier in the season. So we have to make sure we got there with a strong team and make sure that we can go up and get the 3 points, because it's obviously very
It
important.
is, because it's 40 million.
100%. And
And that could be a game changer for us financially, and
100%.
get some half decent talent in. And you think we'll hold on to a lot of our players? They're talking Aribo there. There's 2 or 3 teams in for Aribo. And
it's up to these guys what they want to
I
do.
love him.
I know.
He's been a
I
stand out this season.
I'm waiting. I can't wait to see how Ramsey does. I think he'll be
Aye,
magic.
he's still to come through.
He'll be
that,
magic
ain't
for
he?
us, I think.
You think he'll take a few games with him too,
But
Charlie?
he'll be brilliant for us.
I know he played a good bit there on Sunday, but with the conditions up there in that park, you couldn't tell whether he was going to be
Saturday night on it.
Saturday.
Aye, but
I've got a
he'll be
good wee
great
feeling
player.
about him. Aye.
He's a wonderful football player.
Aye.
I can't believe we signed him. It's a great signing. It really is.
Definitely. Well, that's us. That's going on to like nearly 8:15. So we'll wait.
And there's another one. The last one there with Bobby Valentine.
Right.
Has the Rangers board done everything they
They
could?
As in regarding signing, well, I think Ramsey alone's a wonderful signing.
Oh,
The other day,
without a doubt.
Villa are valuing a Aribo at 5 million. Can't be serious. Definitely not.
I
5 million.
think who was that said that one?
Darren Patterson, melon 5 million for a Aribo.
But I think there's something, a clause in his.
He's out of contract in a year.
I think there's something, a clause here, and I think that's why the 5 million's been mentioned. And I agree with him that he's the best player we've got to know.
Oh, definitely.
But I think we'll kind of wind up now.
Cheers, guys.
Right,
Thanks for
folks.
having
We
us.
need to pick the.
Oh, the winner. Yes,
winner,
we need to
yes.
pick for if you get a favourite question you would like to you liked answering the night. What was your favourite?
Didn't really get to answer mine, did I? I can't really do this because I know a lot of people on there. So
One of the coaching ones or something.
what is my coaches? But
Remember the guy I asked you? Ian Nicholson.
Charlie, what was that one?
Nickel for Aberdeen. There you go.
Well, because
He's up in Aberdeen.
He's up in Aberdeen.
He's actually in Aberdeen, and that's
Aye, that could be
and he
him.
does a lot of work for charity up there, and
Cool.
he does a
Aye,
lot of
Ian
range
Nicol
stuff.
for
I don't know
Aberdeen.
if you met Ian before.
I don't know.
Aye, he does a lot of.
there you go. So
good
that's
work
the
up.
VIP tickets for the
The
soonest night.
VIP, I'll contact the longest 40.
There you
tomorrow
go.
Cool,
and,
cool.
tell him, as I say, I maybe have to go just to.
100%. No, you'll no need to.
You need to go. Right, folks, if you've
Cheers,
enjoyed the
guys.
show tonight, you can get involved, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, follow We Will. Huge thank you to our guest Charlie Miller this evening. Thank you so much, Charlie.
Cheers, guys.
And thanks for joining us here tonight on Follow We Will, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Yes, and I apology again about the weather. They're disrupting it a wee bit there, but listen, we'll be back here next time and it'll be good and
Yep.
we'll go through it. And thanks, Charlie.
No worries.
Right, thanks. Cheers, guys.
Cheers then.